All right, Brandon, we are very pleased to welcome to the show for this draft Tony, the Cowboys fan, and Chris, the Jets fan. But for the purposes of this draft, they're Chris and Tony, the Seinfeld fans, hosts of the number one Seinfeld podcast in America. This podcast is making me thirsty. Fellas, welcome to the show. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Ready to talk some Seinfeld, I guess?
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're always ready to talk Seinfeld.
All right.
Whatever you want to throw at us. But we could also talk NFL anytime you want,
So yeah, let's start there. Whichever wants to go first. So, like, how did the fandom start? What's some good memories, bad memories, all the above?
Yeah. Well, listen, it's all been bad. So
I'm sorry, Chris.
as a Jets fan, as you know, I mean, listen, the Saints went through some rough times, but then but actually, I was Paul. I was at the Saints Colts Super Bowl.
Oh wow, okay.
Back in Miami, it's the only Super Bowl I ever went to. Yeah. Probably the only one I'll ever go to. But
how'd you manage that?
My job at the time,
Chris is the high roller. He gets all these front row Yankee games. He's all over the place.
Wait, did Watley give you those tickets?
Oh yeah, Tim Watley.
Why? They felt bad.
Watley.
They felt bad for me. So let's focus on the Jets. All I'm saying is, but the Saints, I could talk Saints all day too. Bobby Hebert, the whole thing. But
Herbert, yeah.
Right. I consider him a Saint. I know he was the Falcons in that reference, I believe. But
right.
Anywho,
right.
yeah, the Jets. I mean, what can I tell you? From New York, that's the team. We have Yankee fandom, so you gotta pick something that's going to drag you down. And there were some decent memories. We had some good. 86. They started off strong, and Parcells came. Obviously. Now we're getting a little more Parcells back in the building with Aaron Glenn, who has some ties to the Saints as well.
He's got ties to the Cowboys too,
and he's got ties because of Parcells brought him over there as well. You're right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
It all comes back to Parcells. Like I said, at the end of the day, if you're a Jets or Giants fan, I mean, we're still, he's held in such high regard here. I go to local restaurants, and I live in a town close to where he grew up. And it's just everyone's talking. Oh, Parcells used to come in here. It's just all about Parcells. Any way you shake it, but like we like to say as a Jet fan, every offseason, we say this is our year.
Yeah, man. It could
Hope
be.
springs eternal.
Actually,
it won't.
I was gonna say that 2009 season, it was almost Jets Saints in that Super Bowl. That was the Sanchez. Yeah.
We two straight. Yeah, lost that first one to the.
That was the first one.
Colts.
Yeah.
And I believe we were up. If I recall, we were up in that game.
Yep.
I think there was a big touchdown to Braylon Edwards, and then
Yep.
Because
the Saints had played the Jets earlier that season when we were both undefeated. I think we were both 3-0 or 2-0 or something. They came down to New Orleans and played. And that was the Rex Ryan era.
So, Paul, favorite Saint of all time? Who do you got?
So
or top three. Give me top three.
Sure. Okay. So obviously Breeze. I also go Darren Sproles. Those are the two jerseys I have in my closet right now, are Drew Brees and Darren Sproles. And for my third, I'll go with the Quiet Storm, Marcus Colston, one of the most underrated wide receivers. From Hofstra.
He's the Hofstra guy. Yeah, exactly.
From y'all's neck of the woods, I believe.
Yeah.
Wayne Corbett, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I loved Wayne Corbett, too.
Wayne Corbett.
So, Tony, what about you?
So I'm a Cowboys fan. So my pain has been more recent. I had some glory. We were talking about it earlier. I became a Cowboys fan kind of through my brother and a couple of cousins also. I was telling you guys earlier, my grandfather had season tickets to the Giants. John DeZiegel, the Giants trainer for many years, lived across the street from him. And so he was kind of grandfathered in, if you will, to Giants season tickets, which are very hard to get. and he'd sell every game but the Cowboy game, and then we'd go to the Cowboy game every year. And a couple of the big ones, like I said, I was at the '94 game, the Emmett Shoulder. We were young too. We couldn't drive to the game, so our dads drove us, sat in the parking lot, watched the game on like a 3-inch television in the parking lot while we went into the stadium. We were like 13, 14 years old, getting pelted with snowballs. It was crazy. So I was a big Cowboy fan starting back when I was telling you, Randy White, Tony Dorsett, Everson Walls, Danny White. I had Danny White jersey. That was my kind of team. And then obviously it took off with Aikman and everything else. Too bad Jimmy Johnson left, but it's been a bit downhill since then. The Romo years were up and down, but I was saying, I mean, my Cowboy fandom has kind of dwindled as I got older, but I'm still kind of hold on to it a little bit. But once you get a couple of championships under your belt, you don't have as much. These Jet fans, they're still waiting for it, so they're all they're still gung ho. You get a few under your belt, and you kind of relax.
He's right. It's the only sport or team I'm still passionate about. You lose it through the years. But I was going to say, I thought Tony was a big Cowboy since '92. Usually that's when he jumps on board.
Come on. I wore my Cowboy hat in 7th grade. They were 1-15 that year. They beat the Redskins, the only game they won.
Yeah, I had a Tony Dorsett jersey too.
That's right, he did have a Tony Dorsett jersey. O'Hara did have a Tony Dorsett jersey. He also had a Barry Sanders jersey that I bought off of him. You remember that? When I bought that Barry Sanders jersey off you?
Dude, I was just...
You don't remember that?
This is going a little sideways, guys. My brother just brought these jerseys to my son, and I'm like, where the hell's my Barry Sanders jersey?
You sold it to me.
There you go.
I think I gave you like $50 for it, maybe more. It was an authentic one with the stitched on. It was like the stitch, the whole stitch.
$50, man. That's a good deal right there.
Yeah. I remember I bought that off him.
You didn't send it to Rudy's. You didn't bring it to Rudy's.
Vintage.
The vintage.
There you go. That's Paul. You're the master of segues.
That's a hell of a segue.
Hey man. I do my best. I do what I can. So I will say real quick on the Jets, they did give me 2 of my favorite Saints linebackers of all time, Jonathan Vilma and Demario Davis. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't think the Saints have ever. I don't think we ever.
Another 2 boneheaded moves. Yeah.
I don't think the Saints have ever returned the favor, to be honest. So apologies there.
Maybe I could do that instead of give them to the Jets instead of throwing them to the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like Zach Vaughn and
Brandon hates
Chauncey
the
Gardner
Saints front office. Yeah, Brandon hates the Saints front office because we all of our best players end up on the Eagles, and that obviously is not good for a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, Sproles, right? Sproles was one of them.
Sproles was one too back in the day. Yeah, so Sproles and then Zach Vaughn this year, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson years previous.
Who was the 27, the safety?
Oh, Malcolm Jenkins. Yeah,
Malcolm Jenkins was another.
Yeah. Listen, give me Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, and Dalton Hilliard. Anything.
He had that crazy face mask, right? That was the guy with the crazy face mask, like the 100 bars on it. Wasn't that him? Yeah.
Sam Mills. Yeah.
We earlier our patron saint this week was Ronaldo Turnbull, who was on those teams as well. He was a linebacker from back in the day. All right, so we're gonna transition here to a draft about nothing, I guess we can call it. This is a Seinfeld draft. So what I've got here is I got 6 categories. Tony and Chris were generous enough to let me and Brandon go first. So earlier in the episode, Brandon and I decided of the 2 of us who would go first, and that would be Brandon. So it's going to be Brandon first. I will go second. Tony, Chris, do you guys have a preference who goes 3rd, 4th, or?
I'll go 4th.
You go 4th?
Because it's a snake draft, right?
It is a snake draft, yes.
Hot corner.
You'll get the hot corner. So let me just make this update real quick. So Chris will be 3rd. Tony will be 4th. And then we will be picking from 6 categories tonight. We're picking episodes, obviously, of Seinfeld. So there are 6 categories are as follows. Wildcard, which pretty self-explanatory. Any episode you want can go in that category. Movie reference. So this can be an episode that features a real or fake movie reference. Bottle episode, which in the normal TV lexicon, bottle episode means it takes place in one location. I kind of expanded it for this basically to say It can be that, but also any episode where we do not see Jerry's apartment or the inside of Jerry's apartment. So, little expansion there. A parent episode. So, any episode that features Morty and Helen, Frank and Estelle, Babs Kramer, or Alton Bennis.
Alton Bennis.
Or I guess the Rosses, too. We'll throw the Rosses in there, too. Mr. and Mrs. Ross. Hour-long episode. Again, pretty self-explanatory there. For the purposes of this exercise, and Tony and Chris, I don't know how you feel about this, but I count the Pitch the Ticket from season 4 as an hour-long episode.
Yes,
that okay?
Agreed.
Now, if you want, you can select just the pitch or the ticket in a different category, but you can also select the pitch/the ticket as an hour-long episode, if that's not too confusing. And then finally, no draft would be complete without our good friend Newman. So we're going to have a Hello Newman category. So any episode where Newman is seen or heard.
So that counts the one where he's jumping off the roof.
Yeah, the
Larry David's voice.
Yeah, that's the it's from season 2. I can't remember the Revenge. Is that the Revenge?
Revenge, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Is that okay. So, any questions, thoughts before we get going here?
I think we're ready
to rock.
We're good. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, so Brandon, you will get to kick us off here with the first pick.
All right, so I think the most difficult category here is going to be there's good first round talent and a big drop off in the bottle episodes. So I'm going to go with that category first.
Good.
And then I think I'm going to take the original bottle episode, and I'm going to take the Chinese restaurant.
Yep.
All right, dumb question. Do we all have to do the bottle episode now?
No, you can do whichever one you want.
Whatever we want. All right.
Yeah.
You pick your episode and you put it in a category and we move on.
All right.
So yeah. Chinese restaurant. I would say probably is this the first classic Seinfeld episode? Is this?
I would think so.
I would say it's the first one that got the attention of the masses, per se,
right.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We would. I don't know. Chris might agree with me here. Probably. I think I would put the Jack in the phone message. They aired before that. To us, those are a bit more old school,
Gotcha.
Really good episodes.
Yeah.
But in the lexicon of the show, as far as like kind of what put them on the map, that was kind of the first one. But pre boyfriend, obviously pre contest. Got people talking.
Yep.
So I think that's a good call there. Yeah.
It was a different concept, right? Like the whole episode is basically you're just waiting for a table at a restaurant, which is so much different than what sitcoms are doing at that time. And so it's like, we're just going to make the show out of real life. You get George trying to call, having to give her the excuse of, I'm sorry, but I have a bus pass that expires in an hour. He's got, and then you get the Cartwright.
Yeah,
I'm not Cartwright. I know I'm not Cartwright.
I'm not Cartwright.
We're living in a society. Another great George.
Yes, you just get so many.
The payphone, the whole thing. I mean, it just it brings you back. But yeah, from the lexicon, this was the one where Larry David put his foot down, and the network didn't want to run it, and he said, "Then I'm going to quit." Essentially, and it's funny. We've talked to many of the one of the early writers, and he backed that story up. Just how much conviction Jerry and Larry had, and that they didn't care. Like they were happy to go back to their life as a stand-up. Like this wasn't the be all and end all. And you could see that from these early episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The underrated part of that whole phone exchange is when the guy comes up to George later and says, "Hey, I'm sorry about that."
and George, of course,
it's
fine.
We're good.
I love how George is ready to throw down too. If anything happens here, can I count on you?
And then there's the Jerry trying to get Elaine to go eat off the table. Like
for $50, I'd put my face in their soup and blow.
Hey, well, listen. The way we're talking about this episode, Brandon's going to win the whole thing. So let's
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, I'm gonna go with my first pick here. I told Brandon before we started the show there was one episode I absolutely wanted, and I'm gonna put it in the hour-long episode category, and it is The Boyfriend, season 3. This was the first episode. So when I watched the show for the first time all the way through, I was 25 at the time. And I got to this episode and I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, I get why this show is revered in the way that it is. The whole second spitter thing, the whole, just everything about this episode. This is a perfect episode of television, I think. A perfect hour-long episode of television. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's my favorite episode by a mile. That's no disrespect to obviously any other episode, but it's just fantastic. And I was listening to your guys' 2 ups and 2 downs on this episode, and I think you guys have kind of similar vibes.
We both gave it an A+. It's hard.
This is O'Hara's one of favorites.
We don't particularly pick favorites. You know, our top 10 could change by the day, but you know the A+ episodes, and boy, I always said this episode specifically was the launch pad. To your point, you're watching it, and all of a sudden you saw this, and it took it to another level. So 100% agree with that. And usually an hour-long episode, you're like, maybe there's something, like maybe went on a little too long. Not this one, right? Yeah. He left it one more.
Yeah, I mean, I had it as my number 1 hour-long episode too. So you just took it off.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, they don't leave anything. There's nothing left on the bone here. This is a perfect, again, like I said, a perfect episode. And I'm thrilled to take it. I actually could have taken this in a couple categories, but hour-long episode is a little scarce, so I'll take it there. All right, Chris, you are up, sir, with your first pick.
All right, what am I going to do here?
No Kyle Brady picks here. You know,
nice tight end reference there. We got Johnny Mitchell as well, if you remember him, and
I don't know why Kyle Brady,
Anthony Becht, if you want to go down the tight end road. Here we go. Let's go. I'm looking at movie reference. What are the movies and the movie references here?
And I should say, like, you can argue your case. Like, if you think there's an episode that you think fits
in a different category,
we'll allow some Jackie Childs style litigating here.
Well, help me out here. I'm looking at the movie reference. I'm doing this in the real time here. Okay. The Conversion. What's the movie reference in The Conversion? Someone help me out with this.
So I saw a video today. So I got a lot of these from this YouTube video. Somebody put a big compilation of like the different references for The Conversion. It's from The Graduate. So when Kramer's running to the church to go see Sister Roberta.
Yeah.
That apparently is a reference to The Graduate when Dustin Hoffman's going.
Actual references versus like a movie mention. Interesting.
Both. I think.
Right. It's either one. Yeah. Either one. Yeah. If you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I may have missed some in terms of like movie mentions. So, like I said, if we can litigate if you have one.
You know what? I'm gonna go, and Tony's got to help me. I'm drawing a blank on the episode, but we had a famed producer of the show, Tim Kaiser, on the show,
right?
And his family. And I hate the later seasons. Just we'll get that out there, but I'll throw this a bone.
I am aware.
Tim Kaiser. What you're aware? Tim Kaiser had his family in the actual poster of Sack Lunch. So
that's the English Patient. That's the English
Patient. Yeah. So and I hate the English Patient.
Right, I was going to say you hate the English Patient.
I hate the English Patient, but if I'm going movie reference, I'm not using English Patient as the reference.
Right.
I'm using the fake. I could have went Rochelle, but Kaiser was such a great guy, and they got his family to do the post.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say,
they got his family to do the poster.
It's one of my favorites because it's the introduction of Izzy Mandelbaum. Like that's we use
There you go.
we
People
we
love
use
it.
we use the It's Go Time clip for the show. So I mean, like it's like that's one of my favorites.
Mandelbaum.
So we'll call that. We'll say the English Basement. It's a wild card in some ways because I would never pick that.
Okay.
But what the hell?
But you're putting it in the movie reference category.
For the sack lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, movie reference.
Yeah, Tony's got his number one dad shirt on. He said so. There's
I
another.
do. I'm wearing the number one dad T-shirt under here. But that's interesting because that's a good point Chris just made. If I guess that's my turn, right? So I could just kind of hop in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that's what I was thinking about with these things. Like, how are we looking at it, right? Like, even with the parents or Newman, are we looking at our favorite Newman episode or our favorite episode with Newman in it? Right, that's how my mind was going, and O'Hara kind of went with that one. His favorite movie reference is Sack Lunch, even though I know he doesn't like English Basement as an episode, but I get where he's going with Sack Lunch. So it's interesting how we're doing this. Different mindsets for different things here. So,
Chris, do you have an opinion on Sex in a Tub?
I agree with Elaine. It's not.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I don't know. My kids might be listening to this. So
fair. Earmuffs, kids. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead with your.
No. So all right. So I get two here, right? So
yep.
Listen, I'm gonna go just because one of those things too. Like Paul said, I need to have this episode, so I'm just gonna take on my first pick, and I'm gonna make it my wild card, and I'm gonna go with was that wrong? The red dot. I think I have to have the red dot on my card here somewhere. I believe when we did our original rankings, I had it number 2 all time. As Chris said, though, we can kind of mix these around in different ways. It's always going to land probably in the top 10 for me. It's quintessential Costanza. Was that wrong? Jason Alexander talks about this all the time, how, he couldn't believe this is what this line was, right? He's caught red-handed. We love Lippman, obviously. Georgie Porgy, the whole thing there. So I'm going to go red dot as my first pick for wild card.
I really love the taking overview. I see a very cheap man holding a sweater.
That's my overview.
Yeah.
We could have done a category of Christmas episodes, I guess. Like we should have maybe done because this would be one, and obviously the strike.
It's one of the few. Yeah, the
race.
I remember watching the DVD. They have the notes about nothing on this, and they mentioned that kind of the Elaine's boyfriend, being recovered and sober at the end. That was kind of their like concession to them having a happy ending to a Christmas episode, because they usually didn't do that.
Was he on the wagon or off the wagon? Was he? Which one was?
Hey. But yeah, that was kind of their like concession to the network, saying like, "Hey, we usually don't do this, but since it's a Christmas episode, we'll make it look like he ended up okay at the end."
No hugging, no learning. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Tony, you got another pick here.
All right, yeah, I'm just looking it over here. You know what? I'm going to go with one here. This will probably be one of the few I take outside the first 6 seasons.
Okay.
We're pretty partial to the earlier years, but I'm taking a movie reference here. This we just posted on X a little while ago, and it did some good numbers because I think everyone can agree. Now, this could go in a few different categories. I'm putting in the movie category though, because I think that's I do have some other ones in that category I like a lot, but I think for this scene alone, who's having sex with the chicken? You got the Marble Rye episode with movie reference with the, Mr. Ross and talking about, have you seen Firestorm yet? I got to go in fresh. I got to go in fresh. Great Frank Costanza, great Estelle,
That's perverse.
We use the "there's something missing" line all the time. That's one of our
there's something missing, all right. The
Tony,
rye. I mean,
Tony loves the rye. Loves the rye.
knows I love the rye. Had to go with it. You got Rusty, you got Joe Pepitone, the whole thing.
I'm so keen on Beefarino. Yeah.
Ooh, Rusty.
It's a great. It's. And then the Elaine's dating the saxophone player, right? That's the
hot and heavy.
Hot and heavy. He doesn't do everything. Like that whole thing. Yeah. All right.
That's one of the episodes. Speaking of kids, you want to show them that episode for Rusty and the farting and everything, and then you're like, oh wait a minute.
Wait. You need a abridged version.
Yeah. Right. All right, Chris, back to you.
All right. Well, let's cut to the chase here. Let's go to the bottle episode.
Okay.
And that's could be my wild card too. An all-timer for me. The airport.
Ooh, that's good one too.
Bottle episode, the airport.
Okay.
I mean, talk about underrated. It does not get the attention it deserves. But rewatch this one, fellas. I mean, there's no fat on this bone. It is just unbelievable. And I'm partial to the bottle episodes. I love when they're outside of Jerry's apartment.
Yeah.
The magic just seems to happen there for some reason. This was a Larry Charles. Larry Charles, right? Did this episode. I mean, it's just
for sure. Yeah.
And in his writing, it's just really unique. Usually a little darker. But I love the dynamic. It was just Jerry and Elaine together the whole time. George and Kramer. You had JFK, Honolulu, Mark Christopher, the guy with the bags. $5 a bag. I mean, everybody was hitting on all cylinders in this one. And then obviously, Kramer coming through the thing at the end there. I mean, and then Jerry getting the girl, more everything.
And this is is this the George with the guy? You are in the shackles. You are in the shackles land. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
That guy.
Caught, I'm going to read it in the park. I mean, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. The bell tolls for the gross part.
Yeah. That's another one.
Can't wait to stop at the duty-free shop. That's a great one, too.
Yep.
A wonderful episode. It was a season 4, right? Season 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it wasn't the contest. It was this episode. Right.
It was part of the season with the arc, but it wasn't part of the arc. You know what I mean? So they had these one-offs, like the airport, like the double dip and everything else. So the airport in there.
The airport leads into the pick because the girl that Jerry meets on the plane is the one that catches him in a pick in the pick episode, which is the next episode. That's the nice thing about season 4 is, like, to your point, Chris, like, there's an arc. Not every episode deals with that arc, but it feels like they connect episodes very well in that season. It's not like just kind of randomly, going through the motions as they get to in the later seasons.
4 was just wonderful, wonderful. So the airport. I don't know how you beat that as a bottle episode. Tough one to beat.
That's a great one. I think Larry Charles wrote that, but he's also the stinky man in the bathroom.
Yeah,
who comes out when Elaine goes in.
Good call.
Yeah, when
and you have Larry David's voice in that one with the kosher meal, the whole thing. So nice. The Larry's popping on that one.
Another fun fact: we talked to Annie Corzin, who plays Jack Kloppus's wife. She's also in that episode on the plane. That's her first role before she became Jack Kloppus's wife. So we just spoke with her, check that out. She told us how she's sitting next to Elaine on the plane.
Was she the second Kloppus wife?
No, she was the Kloppus wife.
Okay, so she was in the pen, right?
Was there a second Kloppus wife?
Well, because the pen is in season 2. And Kloppus is
she's in the pen, yeah.
Okay.
She's in the pen.
Okay.
Yeah. So they brought her back. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, you're gonna have to edit that out for Tony's mistake.
What mistake did I make?
He edits our podcast.
What mistake did I make? I do edit out all my mistakes on our podcast. Harry's right about that.
Oh man, it's all good. I make mistakes too. I say the Saints are going to be good, and they're not. We just roll with it. All right, so I guess it's up to me. Yeah, I'm next.
You're up.
me see here. I mean, like I said, the boyfriend was definitely the one I wanted to get for sure. Let me check out Newman here. See what we can do with Mr. Newman. Man, I really didn't think past the boyfriend. I'm gonna be honest here. Oh, you know what? I got one. I'm gonna go wild card. This is another episode in season 3 that took it up a notch for me, and that's the library with the late great Philip Baker Hall as Bookman. So I'm putting that one in wild card. It's liquor. Was it Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn? Can't stand you.
Can't stand you. Season 3 guy, Paul. A lot of respect so far.
Yeah. Look, I do like the later seasons for sure, but like I was telling Brandon I was watching some season 1 today, and I guess it's like I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and like those earlier seasons kind of speak to me a little more. True. Yeah, I don't know. Like, because I did. So like today I watched some season 1, but then I also watched the Merv Griffin show because I needed to check something in that episode, and that's a favorite of mine, honestly, from season 9. But even watching it today, I was like, no, no, this isn't as, it's not ringing as true to me, the Merv Griffin show, that is, as it was when I first watched the show for the first time. So, but yeah, no, the library. I mean, like I said, Philip Baker Hall steals the show in this. I think he's top 5 guest appearances in the history of the show, at least for me. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I think America agrees.
Yeah. He's one of the classics.
Yeah.
All right,
Brandon, so you got 2 picks here.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I've got one. I think I may save it. I think I'm going to save my wild card here, but I've got a Newman episode that I really like. This is, I know y'all may dislike me for this one. It's one of the later seasons. We're going to season 8. We're going to go to, this is one of my favorite Newman references too. But I'm going to go with the chicken roaster.
I knew that's where you were going. Yeah.
One of my favorites, just like
for me, it's probably, I think I said this on our 2 Up 2 Down for that one. I think it's my favorite season 8 episode. Pretty sure it's up there. I mean, and for a Newman episode, if you're talking a Newman episode, it's up there for a Newman episode. Deep fried broccoli, the whole thing there.
You wouldn't eat broccoli if it was deep fried in chocolate sauce. The Mr. Marbles segment too, where it's like I'm in the hold of a ship, and I love the Jerry and Kramer switching roles for just for a moment, where Jerry's the one who's really stressed, Kramer's the reasonable one now, and then you get the Nutria hat, Bob Sacamento.
One of our favorite lines comes from that episode when Kramer says, "Oh, I like this idea."
Yes, another one that we go back to quite a bit.
It's one of those episodes. Half of it is amazing, and then the other half just falls flat. That's kind of how we graded it. So, like all the things you mentioned, great, but then there's the other 15 minutes. It's like, whoa, what was going on there? You know what I mean? Yeah. But Newman was really good. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Newman moments, just because of the deep fried in chocolate sauce.
Is the chicken? Wait, the chicken roaster's the one with Peterman in the jungle, right? That's the Apocalypse Now reference.
Yeah, because she has to go to get the expense report signed.
Right,
you're the only white poet warlord in the area.
It is a solid Peterman too. It is a solid.
Yeah,
Peterman.
It is.
I mean, you need guys like Peterman and Newman to carry those later episodes, but they do their job.
Absolutely. All right. Brandon, you're kicking us off in the round 3 here.
Yeah, I've got one more. Let's see. I think I'm going to go.
Only category not touched yet is the parent episode, just for the record.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Not saying you have to touch it, but it's just.
I am going to go. I'm just going to avoid that category for now. Oh, I'm going to go with one of my favorite, I think like underrated guest appearance here. I'm going to go with The Jacket for a parent episode with Alton Binnis.
It's a big one. That's a big one off the board. That's like that's a big one off the board, man. You got a good one there.
Yeah, I love like this the whole discomfort with her dad being there. We always reference when my family, we use the line, "He's in the bathroom," whenever someone's using the restroom and isn't there. And then the other thing is one of my favorite fun facts from this was like the Lawrence Tierney, who played Alton Binnis, apparently made everybody on set very uncomfortable from what I heard. And they saw him like taking the knives from the kitchen set from Jerry's apartment, like between takes. And he was just a completely intimidating guy, like in person as much as he was on the screen. And so everyone was terrified of the guy. But I just love that. Then the George getting Les Miserables song stuck in his head the whole time is great too. So just a good one of the just you never saw Alton Binnis again though.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately. Yeah, come on, choir boy, right?
Yep.
But that's the beauty of the show. The show always left you wanting more. Like right. Yeah, Alton Binnis would have been a great return, but like, you know what? Boy, did he steal that show and just like I think he left his imprint on it. So sometimes those one and dones, like Bookman, I know he came back for the finale, but like for the most part, those one and dones are just like special.
So a question for the group: we never met Elaine's mom. Who do we think would have played Elaine's mom?
Ooh.
Like that, I've wondered that. Like we think of like Mary Tyler Moore. We think of like somebody like
I don't know
that.
why it just popped in my head, but Angelica Houston. I don't know why that just popped in my head. Maybe the dark hair. I don't know. It's weird. I never heard that question asked, but for some reason
I don't
that's
know.
What popped in my head.
Because like you never met
Sally Fields. I don't know.
There you go. Elaine could be related to Forrest Gump, maybe. That could be a
I was going to say Kathy Bates because she did that whole thing on The Office where she came back and did some comedy, but I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like you need someone with dark, kind of like the wavy hair.
That's why I thought of Angelica Houston. I don't know the hair. The hair is in my head.
Good.
It wouldn't have been Raquel Welch. I can tell you that.
Good question. Very good question.
She's the only parent that wasn't shown, right? I guess, or Kramer's dad.
Kramer's dad, right? We never met Kramer's dad.
Yeah, Kramer's dad. Good call. Yeah,
which that would have been. Jeez, I don't even know. That'd have been insanity. And then the other question I had for Tyranny. This was post Reservoir Dogs, The Jacket, or is this pre Reservoir?
I don't remember.
It's around the same time. It's pre.
I believe. I think this was 91. I think Reservoir was 92. If I recall.
That sounds right. That sounds right. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that's because that's how like I saw this episode before I saw Reservoir Dogs, and so when he shows up in Reservoir Dogs, I'm like, oh, that's Elaine's dad.
Yeah.
What kind of shenanigans is he going to get up to in this movie? All right. So it's to me, right? It's my pick.
Yep, you're up.
Okay. So I'm gonna stay in the parent episode here. We've talked about him already. Frank Costanza is my favorite character on the show by far. Like, no disrespect to any other character, but he's my favorite. I can't take the rye because Tony already took that, but I will take. So I'm gonna take an episode that features both sets of parents, and I think that is the Showerhead. Is that the one where this is season 7, where Frank and Estelle are gonna move down to Florida, and Frank calls Morty and says, "This is Frank Costanza. You think you can keep us out of Florida? We're moving in lock, stock, and barrel. That episode, I believe that's a shower. I believe that's the shower head. I'll pick the shower head because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, shower head.
Little double. I thought you were gonna go when you said double. I thought you were gonna go
raincoats.
The raincoats.
Raincoats. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too when you said
that. I get
those two episodes in my head kind of combined a lot. Those two for some reason. But yeah, Showerhead's great. The Showerhead also has the whole buffer zone conversation. One of the few times George and Jerry are drinking beers together. With the whole they go cheers on the the food tastes better. The whole thing there. It's great.
And I was reminded today it has a reference to the movie Taxi Driver when Newman and Kramer are meeting with the guy about the showerhead. That's a reference to Taxi Driver when Travis Bickle meets with the guy about buying a gun. That's
the guns, yeah.
That's to say that's that reference. So yeah, it's and I think is the shower. No, the doll is the one with the maestro. The maestro comes back in the doll, not the showerhead.
Is this the one that has the poppy seed where Elaine tests positive for for opium because
which again not Kramer the best Elaine, but it's a good Kramer and a good Peterman that come out of that. In my opinion,
right?
It's
one of my favorite.
You got the good stuff, and I need it.
Not in my office. No, that's.
The parent episodes, you got them loaded in here, huh?
Yeah, they're like I said, Frank is my absolute favorite character of all time, and I just actually remember there's an episode I can't take now because I don't think it fits in any of the categories I have left, that's a shame. But
you already used your wild card.
Well, what's interesting is Frank. You love Frank, and we all love Frank. Don't get me wrong, but he's only in I think 23 episodes, which is crazy.
Right.
And
but
not until he doesn't really show up until pretty late in the game.
Season
5,
yeah.
Well, I mean, he's in season 4. He's in the second to last episode of season 4, which it was John Randolph originally.
Yeah, but it was John Randolph. Yeah, so watching live.
But what's crazy is he was in 200 episodes of. Whatever that other thing.
King of
Queens.
But in my head, he's always Frank. So, anyway, interesting. All right, I'm gonna. I might jump on the parent episode here too, just to knock it out. And I think there's a couple obvious ones here. I think I know where Tony's gonna go here. If I had to make a choice, he's gonna go Big Splash. I'm not gonna go Big Splash. If it counts, great. Handicap spot you mentioned. You know what? This is a little crazy, but it's just for fun loving because I say it all the time. The wallet. My wallet's gone. My wallet's gone. I mean, need I say more? I mean, I think that was Morty.
Yep.
That's an aging parent. You don't know what the hell's going to come out of their mouth. And he was just yelling, my wallet's gone. The doctor's ripping me off. The whole thing.
Over my dead body, Jerry.
Yeah. And look at me. I'm going season 4 a lot here.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. So we'll go to wallet. I could have went the big kahunas. I know what Tony's thinking. I could see him looking at it right now, the entrance of someone, but we're going to go Morty. Throw Morty a bone here. Yeah. For crying out loud, the episode was essentially named after him. The wallet. My wallet's gone. Right. I mean, very rare. So, that's my parent episode. Let's go to wallet.
There you go.
Good call.
There you go. All right, Tony.
Okay, listen, I know where he thinks I'm going, and I kind of made a decision here not to go full chalk on everyone here. I'm not going to just take the big heavy hitters out of the picture. I got 2 picks here, so I'll save my parent one because I am going parent, and I'm not going the one he thinks I am. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the hour long because that's the one I have the least amount of stuff in, and the boyfriend was already picked, so I got to make sure I get this one in there. I'm gonna go pitch and ticket. I think we did a 2 up, 2 down on this one, and the ticket part, I don't love the whole, courtroom scene and that whole stuff with Newman and Kramer, but I mean, everything else is just one of the best you're going to see. I mean, we get Crazy Joe Davola's introduction in this one. You're under no obligation to shake my hand. Are you kidding me? One of the greatest opening lines of a character ever to Jerry. The whole thing with the pitch, and Stu Sharmack and that whole George in the room. I love when George is in a room with people like that, just doing his thing. I think the pitch aspect of this episode is so good. They're giving the ideas out. Kramer wants to play himself, that whole thing there. Mm-hmm. I just think there's so much packed in to the pitch part of it with Crazy Joe and everything else. Some of the stuff in the ticket kind of falls a little bit flat for me, but I think overall this sets up the entire season 4, which we all know becomes that arc we talked about earlier. So yeah, I'm going pitch ticket as my hour long here. This one.
Yeah,
you're not artistic,
this is really
and
good.
you have no integrity.
I mean, how good is that? How good is that? This is the show, and he walks out.
This is. I was just thinking, like, George and Kramer are both at their best when they have unwarranted confidence. Like, just when they're like with George, like, we're not gonna,
we're not going to compromise. This is the show. Yeah.
We're not going to compromise our artistic integrity. And like Kramer has those kind of moments too, where like,
I'm driving the bus.
When he's just like, it's like, really, Kramer, So yeah, no, pitch ticket. I kind of see that as the official beginning of season 4. I know the trip is technically the first 2 episodes of season 4, but that almost feels like a move, like a special, almost like an it was who told us that, O'Hara? Someone
that was filmed actually in August, or they put in August to go with the Olympics, the Summer Olympics of '92. So it's kind of like a package deal. They kind of it was more of an extension of season 3, right, when Kramer went out to California, and then so in your head you're probably right about that the pitch and the ticket were officially season 4 start, but right.
They're like season 3.5. It's like season 3, 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
All right, I'm going to go parents next, and again, I'm not going to go chalk. There's so many out there that are out there for the pickings on the parents. I mean, some all timers, but I'm going to go with the one that I could have used in another category, and this is an all timer for me. And it's interesting. I kind of used my Frank Costanza in the movie, so I'm going to go with a pen. And I love Morty in this episode. Obviously, Jack Klompus. It's just Jerry and Elaine, which we all know. And Jason Alexander got mad about that. But to me, one of those early season episodes that really put on the map for me. Watching it live, I think Elaine delivers. I think Klompus is an all timer. Morty, stay on Biscayne. Don't get off Biscayne. I mean, just give it directions. They're down in Florida. The parents are down there. The whole thing. How they all get upset, and they have to bring in everyone, and then they start, roasting them at the dinner.
I've used the line. All I said is I liked the pen. Like I've used that line before. When people
Jerry can't believe it, it's unbelievable. Of course, I like pound cake. It's going crazy.
This is also the one because George and Kramer aren't in this one, correct? And they they said if you're not going to put us in every episode,
Jason Alexander did,
then just we're done with it. So
I don't know if Michael Richards, because Michael Richards wasn't in the Chinese restaurant episode either. So like, I don't know if he.
Yeah, I feel like he was also upset about that too, if I remember correctly from what I read. But it's admittedly been a while.
Yeah. Listen, all these guys have a little bit of ego in them, so it's natural.
Right. Yeah, kind of have to work in show business, I think.
All right, Chris.
All right. Am I up for?
You're up.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list here.
We're dwindling down here a little bit.
We're dwindling down. I kind of want to knock the Newman thing out. And by principle, I'm not doing anything season 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. Fair enough.
But here's the thing. There's Newman moments there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but I already did the English Patient, so I can't do something like that again. So let's
That's
see.
it.
That's it. I'm a principled man.
Artistic
No question
integrity,
about it.
right?
Yeah, no question about it.
I have artistic integrity. Oh God, here the old man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at two here. I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty good too. I don't know. You know
There's,
what? Just because it's an ultimate episode, um, I'm gonna go the non-fat yogurt.
Ooh, that
Yep.
was gonna be
Oh,
my
that's a
Newman.
good. That is a
I
good
mean,
one.
That was
it's an
my Newman.
A.
Yep.
And you look at some of these other episodes that we had labeled as Newman. And I don't think of Newman in them.
Right.
Um,
Right.
when I think of the not-fat yogurt, you picture them. Another round of strawberries for me, my friend. That whole thing, and then him being sad and yelling at Jerry at the end. You had to open your mouth, the whole thing. I love seeing Newman with, his buddies, if you will.
Yeah, his
coworkers, whatever.
Yeah,
And they're all gathered around, and just the highs and lows of Newman, similar to George. I kind of love within an episode how they get so high and he's losing weight, and then obviously to his lows. And in that episode, just Lloyd Braun, Dinkins, Giuliani. I mean, what a power packed episode.
The original Lloyd Braun.
Who we've spoken to both.
Yeah, we spoke to both of them.
The original, and just like a fun fact, the original was supposed to come back, but he was having visa issues.
Oh, is that what it was?
Canada. Yeah, he's a Canadian. He couldn't get him back, so they said screw it. So they got Matt McCoy, who was excellent as well, and he's probably the more well-known Lloyd Braun, not to us, but to the common folk.
I like them both, honestly. But my favorite tidbit from this episode is the Phil Morris part about him.
Yeah.
He was originally going to be Dinkins' representative if Dinkins had won the election, but because Dinkins didn't win the election, he didn't get in the episode, and then he comes back as Jackie Childs down the road. So some serendipity there for the folks at Seinfeld for sure. I know you guys talked to Phil. To Phil
Jackie
Morris.
Childs, another friend of the show as well. Yeah, he told us that's an incredible story, and I know the clips are somewhere. They obviously taped it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Y'all recently talked to the woman who was the masseuse in the Note episode, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was Canadian and had there were some issues with her visa too, or it was she talked about how it was a really difficult process, wasn't it? So it seems like that seems to be a common issue with actors from Canada.
Yeah, and I think the issue was, her visa papers were stuck in her neighbor's mailbox.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
No.
It's bad.
Very bad man. He was a very bad man.
Listen, the non-fat yogurt, you got the cursing left and right, which is unbelievable in a sitcom. The way the fat fuck and the whole thing.
Thanks for ruining my dad's job, you fat.
What the fuck? It's unbelievable.
And that
Jerry
kid
yells at the kid. What the fuck you
that
doing?
Kid, and that kid is the same kid from the parking spot episode, right? From season 3. That That's the same kid. Have y'all talked to him? Have y'all tracked him down? Wonder what he's doing.
No, we've had a couple of the child actors, like Bobby, who was in bed when.
We talked to Bobby, and we talked to Corey. And he wasn't really a kid, but he sort of was. Wanted to be a city planner in Van Buren Boys.
The Van Buren Boys, yeah.
But that kid, he double dipped in that. Dude, the parking space. Jeez, I don't know if you have this. You know what? I might save that for Wildcard, actually.
Okay.
But,
that was we got a lot going on here.
All right, who's up?
I think,
Paul,
it's me, right? Is it me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. The non-fat yogurt. So I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to stick in the Newman category here. Oh man, I'm just trying to think of like. No, that one's. Yeah, that's. I mean, I think I'm gonna stick in season 5. I'm gonna go the barber.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. We could have done this in movie reference too. I don't know if I had a movie. That Edward Scissorhands.
I almost took it on movie reference. I almost took the barber on movie reference just for Penske alone. I mean,
right. Well, that too. Well,
So
actually, so you guys stole when Kellen Moore was about to be hired as the Saints head coach. You guys retweeted Schefter's post about barring any unforeseen circumstances or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, and I was coming to Twitter to do that. I was like, I gotta find this. Like, I was gonna do the Sid Farkas one where he's yeah,
that was the one.
That was the one.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of Tuttle. Is it Tuttle? No. It's Penske at the end of the episode where he's like, "Of course you are aware that."
Right.
Yeah. So
now, Schefter, and I hope you guys checked that. We had Mike Florio on the show. An NFL insider.
And Greeny too. Greeny from ESPN we had on too.
Right. I saw the Greeny episode.
Yeah, Florio was good.
Florio's good.
Okay. All right, I'll have to check it out.
His wild card, his favorite episode, because Florio's great. I don't know why we're pushing Florio here, but his was the NYU. I'm not not there's anything wrong with that. One of the great
outing,
the outing of all time. So
I think I heard him say that on the Rich Eisen show. He was on the Rich Eisen show one day, and they got to talking about Seinfeld, and he said, I remember him saying the outing was his favorite episode.
That's a good one.
Did you guys hear Chris on the Rich Eisen show when he called in? It was talking Seinfeld.
I did. I saw the clip.
You did, really?
I saw the clip
that's right. We put it on. I think we put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get him on one of these days because it's just such a great crossover between sports and Seinfeld. Like, how could you not? So, who's up? Am I up?
Yep.
Who's up?
No, I think I got.
Oh, you went the barber. All right, and the barber had. I believe that was Joel Rifkin and the whole thing, right?
No,
that's the masseuse. The Joe Rifkin's the masseuse.
That's right.
The barber is
keep that in, fellas. Keep that in. Don't edit that out.
I got you, Tony. I got you. No, the barber is Kramer's doing the charity. The
excellent.
Because he wanted a haircut.
He's a high school equivalent graduate.
Equivalency. No, but real quick, speaking about Kramer's unfounded confidence, one of my favorite Kramer deliveries of all time, of the entire series, is in this episode where Jerry says, I believe they've had a cure for polio for quite some time. And Kramer, without missing a beat, just goes, polio? Like, are we sure we're talking about the same thing? And it's one of my absolute favorite Kramer moments.
Kramer is just, he's relatable to anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we always like to say he's probably the most consistent of the four characters from beginning to end, from season 1 to season 9. He stayed pretty much himself the whole way.
Yeah, you can see the evolution of like George and Elaine, as the show changes. But Kramer is pretty much who he is in episode 1 when he's goes from Kessler to Kramer. Still, the personality still does not change.
Exactly.
All right, I've got 2 picks here. I'm gonna get the hour-long one here. I've been looking at this list for a while now, just trying to whittle it down. So I think, Tony, you took the pitch and the ticket, which was a good one. I think that probably would have been my pick, but I'm gonna take the one before the other hour-long episode in season 4. I'm gonna take The Trip.
Well, you could also take the pilot. That's the finale of season 4 is also an hour long.
That's where I thought he was going, but you're going The Trip.
Okay. I'm going there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I just like the kind of storyline of them going out. You get George with his Diana Ross suitcases. This is Morning Mist. Morning Mist, which is
that's one tuck and one no tuck.
No tuck. And then you get the.
I tell you what, Jake Jarmel is the cop in that episode.
Oh, that's right.
He was one of our favorite guests that we talked to. Was Marty Rackham, who played Jake Jarmel in that cop. He's really good at that.
That must have been before he became a famous author. He must have still been working on his manuscript at that point.
Right.
Hey, officer, he's messing around back here. Just the two of them in the car. That's so good.
Another great line is when they're on the payphone and the guy walks by and says, "Excuse me, sir, can you tell me where we are?" And he goes, "Earth."
Classic line.
Yeah, it's good to see them out there in L.A. Which I guess that could have been a bottle episode too, or there might have been some. There might have been some.
I think I had it in bottle episode.
Oh, you did have it in bottle. Okay.
Yes, it is listed in the bottle episode. Because this is kind of the follow up to the Keys episode, right? Because they ended with Kramer leaving into season 3. He goes out to L.A. and then at the beginning of season 4, they have this where they have to, and then at the end, he gets the keys back and Kramer throws his giant ring of security guard keys onto the table.
Can I throw you guys a theory that I came up with the other day? Have you guys seen the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers?
Jeez, a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
So Michael Richards is in that movie for one scene. I theorize, because I looked it up, that movie is filmed in the summer between season 3 and season 4. So I like to think that that's Kramer who got that part because he went out to LA and he got in that movie and he got that role. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it just for because his part in So I Married an Axe Murderer is so Kramer. Like it's basically like just lifting that same energy. So. But the trip's great. I love the George Wendt and Corbin Burnson in part 1.
Great George.
Yes.
I said, honey, I'm not buying you a brand new cat. There's an old diet cat.
Again, this unfounded confidence that he can just go up to Corbin Burnson and start talking about like this cat he killed.
There's a guy backstage.
So it sounds like you guys are season 4. You're like season 4 is your season. Am I gathering that right or no?
Yeah, I'm a middle third. I would say like 4, 5, and 6 are kind of my sweet spot. But I haven't revisited like 1, 2, and 3 a lot. I mean, I revisit 3 because of the boyfriend, obviously, but like. For me, the sweet spot is like from the boyfriend to like the end of season 6, like that.
Well, you got the library in there too. You got a library, Paul. I mean, right.
Is that before the boyfriend or is that after?
Yeah, I think it's before. I could be
okay.
Wrong.
So from the library. Okay. So yeah, but basically the middle of season 3 on to like the end of season 6. That's kind of my sweet.
I'm a little all over the place. I think where I really like especially the George character for him is in season 3, episode 24, the cafe, because that's the episode where he kind of goes from being like an average person to being an idiot, and that's where I feel like the George character really hits his stride.
Yeah, and not only that's a good call, and not only an idiot, I think it's more of his starting when he starts to do the lying when he gets caught thing, the door. Yeah. Why would he use the door? When he said that line live, to your point, like watching it, I'm like, this guy's amazing. Like he just comes up with this on the spot. Like, why would I use the door? The window's right there. Unbelievable.
He's got food on the test. He's like, oh yeah, just I had it in my pocket.
Yeah, I just had a sandwich. Yeah.
That's another thing that makes That's another thing that makes the boyfriend
on his SAT.
Yeah. What did I get it when I tell people I got? I do the same thing.
Hello, Professor.
I tell you every.
You can't even. I don't. Help me out here. I don't think you can get 09, right?
Yeah, no, because impossible.
It's like. I don't know. It's been a while since. But that's another thing that makes the boyfriend episode so great is because you could see George like when he's doing the whole thing with Mrs. Sokol.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that whole thing. And you guys talked about it. We talked about it a minute ago. But like, that's really when, to Brandon's point, like George's web of lies starts. He starts weaving that web of lies, as Jerry says.
George behind a desk, I like to say. If there's someone in front of a desk talking to him, and he's got to do like the same thing with Farkas, the same thing with Sokol. If he's behind a desk,
then to Brandon's point, you push to season 8, and he's bebopping, scatting all over the place, and it's just terrible. So anyway,
there are a few. I've got a wild card pick. That
I want to hear it. Are you? Who's up? You up for your wild card?
I'm going to take my movie reference pick, and I'm going to go really chalky here. I'm going to take the A Few Good Men movie reference. I'm going to take the marine biologist,
right?
Just because.
When George comes in and says, "You can't handle the truth,"
handle the truth. And he's like, "I'm working on my Jack Nicholson."
Yeah.
It's a nice way to get marine biologist in. I'll tell you that. You just snuck it.
So a little peek behind the curtain. When I was putting the categories together, the reason I came up with Wildcard is because I'm like, I don't think we can get marine biologists in here because I don't think it's. I didn't remember this reference. I'm like, well, Newman is in the marine biologist, but he's in for like a second when Kramer's hitting the boot on the side of the building and it falls and it hits Newman in the head. But yeah, so I'm glad you took. That's kind of why I came with Wildcard because like I want to be able to. The marine biologist needs to be able to be picked. Right?
The monologue is just something else. Like the fact that they wrote that. Like, cause I think Larry David wrote it in no time. George read it and then immediately was able to just go in and deliver the lines perfectly. Is that a titleist? It's just Kramer coming home from the beach with his golf clubs and throwing them in. I stink.
Yeah.
So
Jerry told the story on the Rich Eisen show about they wrote it the night before. He walks up to Jason Alexander and says, "You got 30 minutes. We're gonna be doing this." And my favorite part is Jerry says the reaction you see on camera from Jerry is legitimate because he's reacting to the fact that Jason just memorized this word for word with like no time. And then to your point about the button on the end about the titleist, can I ask not to be a Debbie Downer, but like, is this episode like a one hit? Like, it's just that monologue, right? Like, is it just
I don't
that?
know. Well, you got Dan DeCon, the It Girl, you got Jerry processing.
Yeah, because there's also the like, I always wanted to pretend to be an architect. I could be an architect.
Nah, that's an A+ episode.
Yeah, A+ all the way around.
All right.
Elaine, Testikoff, war. What is it good for?
Carol Kane,
right? Yeah.
Testikoff, Russian writer.
Yeah, a lot going on. The It Girl, of course, like Tony mentioned. I mean, it was the most beautiful topper. You're right.
Right.
And I think that weighs it heavily. But no, it was cranking on all cylinders.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Yep. That's my 2 picks. You're up now. You got two slots left.
Oh man, I just thought of another episode. I don't think I can take, and maybe we can talk about it at the end. But all right, so I've got movie reference and bottle episode. Let me go to bottle episode here. Okay, so I'm gonna stay. Well, I'm gonna stay in season 5. I'm gonna go with the season 5 finale, The Hamptons, written by the great Peter Melman. You guys talked to Peter Melman, right?
Twice. We talked to him twice. Yeah, we had him on for our 100th episode, kind of just to bring him back. But the Hamptons, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, you I was in the pool. My favorite, another Kramer line when he's like, "Jerry, you ever try silk underwear? Put that on the top of your list." Like,
a little too familiar, he says.
Yeah, we saw Jane Topless.
She's got a great body, buddy. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, we also spoke with Rachel from that episode, who was obviously a three episode Jerry girlfriend
who dated Peter
Right.
Melman, went on a couple of dates with Peter Melman too. Was what,
She
okay.
also dated Ken Danico of the New Jersey Devils back then. Just some fun facts that we learned.
Did she paint her
Gotta
face
support
for
the
the
team.
game?
Yeah, gotta
Oh
support
yeah,
the
she
team.
was she was supporting the team, all right. Yeah, no, wonderful lady. But the Hamptons, geez, I mean,
that's an all timer.
talk about an A+. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love the line that what if you had to describe her to one of those police sketch artists? Oh, they pick her up in about
they
5
pick her up
minutes.
in about 25.
It's a great Jerry line.
Here's a question for the group: is the Hamptons the best season finale?
Ooh.
It wasn't the season finale. The opposite was the season finale.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. I'm sorry.
right.
Which
I'm sorry.
which
You're
could
right.
be the best season finale, though. The opposite.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. I
season
think
finales.
I'm thinking. I think they they taped the Hamptons after the opposite, but they aired it before. I think is what I'm thinking. I don't know.
The opposite was the season finale, and
Right.
probably the
You're
best
right.
season
You're right.
finale.
Yeah, that's
But like, but
the pilot.
those final three, Paul, the Fire, the Hamptons, the opposite. Holy shit!
Yep.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The Fire, my favorite Kramer monologue of the entire series. The pinky toe. Yeah, it's gold. That's good stuff.
Oh, Toby, forget about it. Unbelievable.
Another great guest of ours, Toby.
Oh, you guys got to talk to Toby?
Yeah, Toby's phenomenal.
She was good.
She heckled you? She didn't heckle you?
The pilot, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The pilot's, I think the opposite will probably takes the crown for finale.
I would say the pilot. You maybe give the pilot the edge because it finishes an arc, whereas the opposite, like season 5, didn't really have a. I guess it kind of had an arc with George living with his parents, and then the opposite, he
finally breaks that curse.
Well,
that
Chris, my co-host there likes to say his whole line. I'll say his line for him, but he likes to say the whole show should have just ended with the opposite. That should have just been it. I'm done. This is how the show should have ended. Would have been happy there.
No, instead we get season finales like the Summer of George, which is just an embarrassment. So it could have ended after season 5, and I think we all would have been happy. Of course,
you didn't want to see Susan
anymore.
You didn't want to see Susan die.
Of
course,
that's another. It's funny. It's a polarizing topic. I never personally liked it. Melman, who we spoke to twice, loved it. He totally disagreed. He thought it was funny, the whole thing.
Have you guys heard?
I just thought it was.
Have you heard the story behind how they decided to kill Susan? I thought this was fascinating. Like Jason Alexander was on, I think, Howard Stern just a couple years ago, and the story he told, that if I'm remembering this correctly, was they all would go out to dinner after recording the episodes, and Jason was like not complaining, but he was frustrated with trying to work off of I can't remember the actress's name that played Susan.
Heidi
Swyberg, yeah, and Jerry and Julia were like, "No, you're crazy. It's fine. You're good." And then they get to the pool guy episode where Jerry and Julia have to interact with Heidi, and they get to the dinner after they recorded that episode, and apparently Jerry and Julia were like, "Yeah, we see what you're talking about. Like, we get it now." And Julia, I think, made an offhanded comment about, "Man, sometimes I just want to kill her." And Larry David went, "That's what we'll do." And that's how they decided, according to Jason, that's how they decided they were going to kill Susan at the end of the episode. Because they still hadn't figured out how they were going to end the season. They knew George wasn't getting married, but they didn't know.
Yeah. And then Larry left, then Larry left.
Listen, they should have just never brought Susan back in the first place.
Right.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
But one of those things. It was a little FU for Larry just to like go off in the sunset, the whole thing. So yeah, I know the cast didn't get along with her per se.
Right.
But no fault of Susan. I liked her. Season 4, she was great. And
she
became
was
a lesbian.
good. She was good early on. The Bubble Boy, she's great. She has a few hot spots.
But I guess you got the Rosses that kind of helped balance her out a little bit. So
Grace Zabriskie and Mark Frost, yeah, they were great.
That was my rye pick.
All right, Chris, you're up.
Chris,
I'm up,
you're
huh?
up.
Let me see here. Let me see.
You have
What we got?
Wildcard and hour-long episode remaining to select here.
Yeah, we'll leave the wild card, see kind of what shakes out there because there's plenty of options. And there's not many options on the hour long. Bottle deposit, no thank you. You know what? Let's go raincoats.
Okay.
I thought you were going to take this with the parents. You got both the parents. You got another friend of our show, Mike Haggerty. May he rest in peace. I mean, what a guy! Yeah. Rudy's Vintage Clothing. I mean, if you can't just picture yourself in a store like that with a guy like that, I mean, that's how great this casting was. I mean, God, they nailed everybody. Yep. You had Judge Reinhold, the whole. You had Rachel back in this one. The whole, Newman watching them make out there in Schindler's List. Him being annoying.
Jerry was moving on her like Jerry was moving on her like the stormtroopers into Poland.
Exactly. I mean, just a great episode, up and down. I mean, to have both parents, to have great guest stars like Rachel, like Rudy, like what was Judge Reinhold's name? I'm trying to the close talker,
Aaron.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just, and then they wove it all together, and there was no, another one where I don't know if Tony, did we grade this one yet? Maybe not, but right up there, probably in A range. So, and again, this one didn't feel like it didn't feel like it was so long. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right. And obviously, a little bit of Klompus. You got to jiggle it, just So the raincoats,
great Klompus.
So much going on.
The key doesn't work. That's unbelievable. And he cores it again. And no, we did not grade this one yet, by the way.
Yeah. So just great episode. Then even at George, right? I think he was doing a little stuff with the Big Brother program.
Right.
Just, season 5. We talked about season 5. There's not a lot of misses in season 5. Right. This certainly didn't miss. So it was a fun 60 minutes. You can't go wrong. So raincoats for the hour.
All right.
On the topic of Mike Haggerty, I watched Wayne's World this week, and but I forgot he was in it, and I was happy to see him. Yeah, he's great.
I believe, right?
Yeah, he also shows up in Curb. He's the Amco guy.
Yeah, we talked to him about that. Curb, he's great.
Yeah, he just seemed like a nice guy. Rest in peace.
Salt of the earth, man.
All right, Tony. I believe you are up with your last 2 picks. You got
last 2 here.
And hello, Newman.
Yep, I saved the bottle episode because I have a bunch in there that I think are big. You took the Hamptons, which was one of them, obviously, but I got a couple more there, so I'm glad I was able to. It lasted. I wasn't sure if it was going to last, and it did. But I'll first give you my Newman. I have a few in the Newman area too, man. So maybe we do like honorable mention or something. But you know what? I'm going to do my bottle one first because I'm still thinking about my Newman. So my bottle one, and I got to put this on my card. It's an all timer. I believe we gave it an A+. We probably rank it in the top 10. O'Hara knows where I'm going. Probably. Actually, it might not. There's 2 I could go with here. But I'm going the limo. I think this for
taking
me.
My wild card.
I mean, you knew how this was not going to last, O'Hara. I'm surprised it lasted this long.
I almost took it. It was between this and the Hamptons for my bottle.
Either one. These are both A+. The limo we like to talk about. My line that I always use is the show. They're kids, right? They're not men. They say this all the time. They're basically in perpetual adolescence. They're grown men, but they're kids at heart. And them in the limousine when they think they're going to see Michael Jordan, it's unbelievable. Michael Jordan, when he calls his mom, the whole "I see things how they are, you things how they are not," that whole thing. I mean, the limo is unbelievable.
Now, So Tony mentioned it, and it was just, and I think we put it on Twitter, but Michael Jordan's birthday the other day. Right. I can't think of an athlete where today, at least, or in the last 30 years, where 2 grown men would be that excited to see that said athlete.
Right.
That's what Michael Jordan was. Yep. Maybe Paul with Drew Brees, but you know what I mean. You wouldn't. You don't really get that. You don't get that excitement. Kids do, but adults, to see an opposing player is incredible.
The whole scheme and everything. We talked to the writer there, Howard told us about that story. But just like the whole thing.
Another double dipper in there. The female Nazi. That George is
and the pie.
Yeah, and
from
the
pie.
pie.
We
She's
also
Audrey.
spoke with her. Yeah, we spoke with her. I mean, George's line with the limo. How about we go pick up your sister? Have a little fun back here. Just unbelievable.
She's a Nazi, George.
When he starts reading the script, and Jerry goes, "You're not going to open with that, are you?"
I forgot about that.
It's so good, and you get Elaine and Kramer together, which is always a great combo. This was early on too, with the two of them were together. The whole 360 spin and the whole, Jerry must know who killed Kennedy. The whole thing. I mean, it's so good. Everything in that.
Yeah, depending on the day, that circles in my top 1, 2, or 3.
I've told people that's my favorite at times for sure when I've been asked. I mean,
it's definitely like the whole episode is great. You've got laughs everywhere. You've got like the sure, nobody gets shot in the city.
Is this the episode that starts with George at the airport and he's asking the guy? He said, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" And he goes, "There's a clock over there."
Yeah, yep.
We're living in a society.
Yeah.
O'Brien. Jerry gives his Irish accent. It's so good. It's
the Pete. Good. The Pete. I thought that was Scott. I thought that was Scotland. We were right on the border.
So good. The limo. It's an all timer, man.
Great pick, Tony.
All right,
you got
the final round here.
See, this is the thing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 that I could choose here. I'm going to go because if we're talking a Newman episode, I'm not going to just pick an episode that's good and Newman's in it, which is one of the ones I have here. So I'm going to go with a good Newman as well. And I'm going to go the old man. I think, this gets overlooked. I don't know why. This is going to always land somewhere in my top 20, I would say. I don't know exactly where I ranked it, but every time I rewatch the old man, I love it more and more. And you get Newman and Kramer, with Tobin at the record shop.
Yeah.
I loathe you. You see, I'm in a foul and unpleasant odor. The whole thing. It's so good. I got records.
I got Al Jolson here.
Sergio Mendez, the whole thing. It's just a great episode, and there's nothing really bad about it. It flows really well. George and the old goiter? Man are great. Yeah, the goiter with Gandhi. I want to dip my bald head in oil, rub it all over your body. I mean, it's.
By the way, she also almost has a second head.
Should be listed.
Anytime I see the word agency, I think of that woman's pronunciation. Agency? Like, I think of how she says it.
Oh, yeah. The agency.
Yeah.
Old man's great, man.
Yeah, so the criticism I guess I've heard of that episode is that, like, it's so against character for George and Jerry to just be like, yeah, we're going to, hang out with
people.
We're going to try to help these people. Like Elaine, at that point, it's still kind of, she hasn't become like corrupt Elaine yet. She hasn't, I would say that's the opposite when that happens, probably. But for Jerry and, I mean, I like it. I like it just fine. It's, right in that meaty part of the season 4.
Yeah, I think they get a little bit of a bad rap, and I think that's tied to the finale. And I think there's a little recency bias there. But if you take that out and you watch it, they're not bad guys. They're idiots. They're children, but like they help each other. Like they pick each other up from the airport. George is cheap, yes, but I think Elaine did a little bit of a sales job there.
It also starts with George just being basically like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like I need to get something. Basically like the whole complaining and just not knowing what's going on. There's a void.
And
just
Tony loved Cantwell. I think Cantwell was the guy.
I do love the guy at the end with George. He's like, "Life's too short to waste on you."
Yeah, it's so good how George is the one who. How can you not think about dying? I think about it all the time at my age. How do you not think about it at your age? It's just I could have went with some others, but I think the old man deserves some credit there.
All right, I got to finish up with a wild card here, huh?
That's correct.
Yep, there's a lot there.
The wild card's a tough one to go last. I know Brandon's got his wild card left. I mean, geez. But I think the beauty of a wild card is a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, thank you for.
I see things how they are. You see things how they're not. How do you see things when you?
Wait, do you see things how they are?
There's some obvious ones in here.
I mean, there's a big episode that has not been selected yet.
Yeah, you're probably referencing the contest. Not going to go there.
Okay. All right.
If that's what you're, unless you're going soup Nazi on me, I don't think you are.
No.
The fire we love, the opposite. I mean, there's a ton here.
Yeah,
the lip reader, for crying out loud. You know what?
Yeah, I almost went lip reader on my last one with Newman.
Parks we talked about. I mean, these are all great. I'm going to go a little wild card on you here. Throw you guys a little bit. Since you're season 4 lovers. All right, I'm going to give you a little season 4 love.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to go the Visa.
Yeah.
Love the Visa. It's so, underrated. Kind of like the airport. It just flies under the radar. But, I mean, Cheryl, Ping. Yeah. I'm a big Ping guy. You put Ping
that's
in
a good...
this isn't the episode, hey, I like Stalin. But, that introduction, and then you got Ping with the pea pods here. Cheryl would love to have her on the program. Unbelievable. And obviously, Jerry, George is funny. He's out on the double date, and then he doesn't want Jerry to late to be too funny.
Yeah, so Jerry can't be funny in that episode.
I know. So he goes dark, right? Happy birthday.
No such thing.
Obviously Cheryl, Cheryl falls for him. Babu. I mean, Wheels in Motion.
Is this Kramer's fantasy camp? Is this Kramer going to fantasy baseball camp?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where he punched Mickey. I mean, so you got a little sports
woven into it as well. So good.
So the reason I remember that is because I think I sent you guys this on Twitter. I did the baseball reference Immaculate Grid, and I had a Seinfeld perfect game, and I went to that scene because I'm like, okay, what Yankees does he reference so that I can. Yeah. So I'm looking up Hank Bauer and
Moose Skowron.
Yeah, I'm looking up all these guys. I'm like, did they play right field? Did they play, whatever the
criteria or not? I own the inside part of that plate. I mean,
so this is you mentioned Melman. It's a Melman episode.
Yeah,
Melman's a big Yankee guy. Obviously, Larry David is too. Well, what's funny is, guys, the one team they don't mention of the run is the Jets and the Islanders, I guess, to some degree, but Right. Hockey's pretty much covered. You got the Giants with Rifkin. You got the Mets, Yankees. You got the Knicks. No Jets. And Larry David's a big Jet guy. I was shocked. Right. And they stunk in the early – well, they always stink, but they really stunk in the early 90s with Koslet, Kotite, and Pete Carroll. So was shocked that never got woven in.
Did I hear that Larry quit the Jets? Didn't I hear that he maybe he did. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe hearsay.
Only Fireman Ed pulls that stuff. But the Visa. What do you guys think of that wild card? The Visa. What do you think?
That's a good call. Great. I love that Babu bot.
Babu.
I'm dark. I'm disturbed. I'm inadequate. I got it all. It's a great.
That's an episode that comes through the channel. You're never turning it off.
You're a very, very bad man. Yes, very bad man.
Good call. Man. Good call, Chris.
That's a great call. All right, so it's to me.
Yep, you're up.
I'm up for my movie reference. So let me see what I got here. Do I stick in season 4? Oh, that's a good one too. Gosh. I feel like we need to have something representing a fake movie in our picks here.
True.
Well, no, we do because we have sack lunch. You have sack lunch with the English patient. That's right. Okay, so
Prognosis Negative.
Prognosis Negative. So I'm torn. I'm gonna go with the Doorman from season 6. So the movie reference here is Marathon Man. This is when Kramer's walking through the city and the tourists are like, stop, because he like pretends holds up George earlier in the episode, and then the tourists see him, and then they see him later in the episode. And they're like, stop that man! That's from Marathon Man. But the Doorman episode, Larry Miller, like coming in throwing 100, like just how about those Knicks?
Yes, the Doorman.
Yeah,
I'm just a poor doorman.
The original pick for George Costanza, I believe, or he was in the running. Was Larry Miller?
Jerry's friend. Yeah, that's
Jason,
so good.
Jason was afraid. Jason thought he had it. Like from what I've heard, Jason was like, "Oh, Larry's got this part. Like, there's no way they're going to pick me. They're going to pick Larry because he's Jerry's friend." But I could have seen more of Larry Miller, honestly, on Seinfeld, or just in
so
general,
are you a Mr. Pick guy then?
Yeah, absolutely. I like
Pitt and Elaine. Good dynamic with Pitt and Elaine in this one when they call up and the whole thing with the socks, right? This is the socks episode.
Tony hates Pitt, by the way.
I don't hate Pitt.
Oh.
I don't hate Pitt. I
love Pitt. I'm with you, Paul.
I don't hate Pitt. I like this episode for sure. It's my favorite Pitt episode.
This isn't. This is not the Mullen Springs, right? This isn't that episode.
No.
That's a different one, right? That's a different one. Okay, that's what I thought. No, I like Pitt.
This is the Bro-Manzier stuff, right? Also in the Doorman.
That's another reason I picked it, because this is Bro-Manzier. This is Frank going through the divorce with Estelle.
Yeah,
Estelle walks in on him at George's place.
Now, keep in mind, we're judging the movie reference, not the whole episode. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
because I'm going to get crushed with the English patient here.
Yeah. No. That's fine.
I like the English patient.
Yeah, it's fine, man. Like I said, I like the English patient because Mandelbaum's in it. So, and the Cubans, and or the
you got to get real Cubans.
So you got to get real Cubans. Yeah. Well, Brandon, you got to get one more pick here. Well, you got a wild card left to close us out.
So there's a few on my list that I'm not going to end up taking. So I was debating my favorite season 9 episode, which is one that's kind of off the wall, is the betrayal, the one that goes backwards.
Yeah,
it's probably one of my I think it's a little underrated. I just like the way that it's put together. You've got the whole everything's going backwards. Kramer's eating the lollipop that's slowly getting bigger, but instead I'm going to go with something a little closer to home. I'm going to go with a season 6 episode, the Jimmy.
Nice.
So yeah, I love this.
So this was the one where George starts talking in third person. So when I was in 5th grade, this was one of the first episodes that I ever saw. And so I saw, George was saying, George likes his chicken spicy. So I said this to a friend, and he's like, well, who's George? And I was like, well, I'm George. And he's like, how are you, George? And I was like, well, that's how they. So in 5th grade, for the whole year in 5th grade, I went by George in school just because of this one line. And
that's
so
better. You didn't try to go by T-Bone, or
I did not. There's no B-Bone.
There's no B-Bone.
Jimmy's got we got a soft spot for Jimmy. Obviously, he was our first guest from Seinfeld we ever had. So,
really?
Guy.
Yeah, he was great.
And I'm more happy you didn't pick the betrayal, because I think we both gave that an F.
I kind of figured
you guys would have been betrayed by that pick. Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, look, the beauty of the show is,
everyone has something different,
right? And you can find that's why we do 2 ups and 2 downs, because you can find good and bad in both episodes.
So, fun fact about the Jimmy, and it's sad that I know this, but it's the only Seinfeld episode that originally aired on my birthday. The original air date of that episode was March 16th, 1995, I believe, and that's my birthday. So not
birthday. Yeah, I to March +1. There we go.
Yeah. There you go.
Bottle deposit aired on my birthday. I was just checking that
go.
as you said that. That's interesting. Oh, and the
But yeah,
deal. They both aired on my birthday.
Yeah, the Jimmy man, like Jimmy's down.
Jimmy's going into shock.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy might have a compound fracture. Like,
fun fact: Chris had the strength footwear shoes, and he thought it was going to help him dunk in 8th grade, but it didn't pan out.
Didn't work out.
True story. Those were big shoes back then.
Yeah, I remember seeing them. Yeah,
I used to go to the track. Yeah.
Can I? So I guess if we want to go through like honorable mentions here, I'll throw out a couple. I mean, we mentioned, well, Chris, you mentioned a couple of the heavy hitters that weren't picked, like the contest. The opposite was not selected.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw out the Junior Mint from season 4.
Great one, Andy Robin.
That episode was my first. So when I was a kid, I didn't watch Seinfeld as it aired because my parents didn't watch it, and that's just the house we lived in. Was, you watch what the parents watch. But I remember a news story about a lawsuit in Colorado, I want to say, where someone a male explained the ending of the Junior Mint, the Dolores punchline, to a female coworker, and went so far as to print out the dictionary page with the term, not Dolores, obviously, but the part of the female anatomy, and like put it on her desk or something, and then they fired him for harassment, and then he sued the company for wrongful termination or something. I don't remember, but I remember seeing that story on like ABC News one night, and I was like, wait, what happened? And so that was for the longest time, that was like my only exposure to Seinfeld, and then until I started watching the show. But yeah, that's a great episode. What are some other ones that we missed out on here, or maybe not missed out on, but we just didn't?
The puffy shirt was another one.
Puffy shirt.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few with Newman. I was going to do sniffing accountant. I was going to do parking space. Opera was left off. The stall was left off. I mean, there's
the one where they're
stall. I thought that's where Howard was going with his wild card. The stall.
I thought I was too. Yeah, Hunky Tony. The conversion I loved. You mentioned
conversion's a great one. What was the one where they're playing Risk?
That's the label maker. That's I think it's the label maker. Yeah, because that's the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's when
Tim Watley.
Dinner party and Cheever letters are both left out too.
I love the dinner party.
Dinner party was on my short list for bottle episode because that's a really good bottle episode. Like, I mean, I guess. Maybe it's not a bottle episode.
No, the dinner party, yeah, because they're in the apartment at the beginning.
They do start in the apartment. Yeah, that's true.
I think the one we ignored on the bottle is the subway.
Yes, which I thought you were going with that, O'Hara, because that's one of your favorites. But so is the airport. Those are both up there.
Yeah, the subway. The subway's a great one. I'll mention the dealership from season 9. I know that's. I just
they were all.
I don't know.
Well, I ranked that as my least favorite episode
of all time. It's in my.
I'm glad I mentioned it.
But
glad I mentioned it.
Hey, Kramer's good. Also forgiven. You mentioned the boy from the library. That outweighs the dealership, so you're good.
Where are your guys' thoughts on Putty? Did we get any Putty episodes? Did we?
No, we didn't do a
Putty. We didn't do a Putty. Huh?
Listen, here, the deal with Putty. I think Putty's. How do I explain this? And listen, Putty was in what, the Face Painter, which was the end of season 6, essentially. Excellent in that. And then you don't see him until season 9, and he's in a, I don't know, beating a dead horse. Oh, we're back together, whatever. He had his moments. Arby's staring in on the plane.
Chips and salsa.
Yeah, but I just think at this point, it's kind of just like, what are we doing?
I like him when he interacted with everyone else, like his Kramer stuff with the garbage disposal stuff. I got to laugh at the Jerry stuff. You taking my move.
The move.
To Harris' point, the Elaine stuff, vegetarian lasagna, and the whole thing there gets a little played out. But to each his own. I mean, Putty's a good character. Don't get me wrong.
The Fusilli Jerry. That's his first appearance, which is the move. That's the one where he he steals Jerry's move and apparently steals George's move too. I think because George is like, did this one involve a knuckle?
Yeah, the knuckle.
I think he stole my move.
Yeah, the move's not bad. The move's not bad.
Yeah.
So Putty's Putty, but
right.
But I think of those later seasons, who where does the Kramer, like, is it Peterman, Mickey,
Right.
like some of these secondary characters that are repetitive, Jackie Childs, Sue Ellen Michigan, like, where do you rank them?
We didn't get a Mickey episode either, did we? I don't think we. No, I don't think we did.
I don't think so.
No. What do you guys have? So I guess my favorite Mickey is the race when Kramer's Santa and he's the elf.
This guy's a commie and he's spreading propaganda.
Oh yeah, the race is an all-timer. I mean, it's one of the greatest scenes of all time when George comes in, the whole thing there with describing he's your architect and everything else. I mean, you can't beat the race is unbelievable. For Mickey, the other one, the big Mickey one, is the lifts in his shoes and the whole thing there. That's a good one too. When you mentioned the rock paper scissors, we might want to do
Brewster,
yeah, I was filling in for Punky Brewster when you was nothing. That's a great one. And then did we? I don't think we got a Jackie Childs. Did we get Jackie Childs? Jackie Childs was one of my favorite characters, and that's a shame. I should have tried to get him involved too. Lewd, lascivious, outrageous. So
yeah, I mean, I think what this draft tells you is, you guys like the early seasons. I mean, that's where it packs its most punch and it's most memorable.
Outside of the
later,
outside of the betrayal.
So you got all of our teams somewhere. Did you write this down?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we got it. We got it in a document here. Actually, do you want to recap, Brandon?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and recap. So I went first. My wild card was the Jimmy. Movie reference was the marine biologist. Bottle episode, the Chinese restaurant. Parent episode, the jacket. Hour long, the trip. Hello Newman, the chicken roaster. Paul, you went second. You had the library, the doorman, the Hamptons, the showerhead, the boyfriend, and the barber. Chris, you took the visa, the English patient with sack lunch. The airport as your bottle, the wallet for Morty, and then you've got the raincoats and the non-fat yogurt for your Hello Newman. Tony, you went last. You took the red dot, the rye, the limo, the pin, the pitch and the ticket, and the old man.
Yeah. I think we got some good lineups, fellas.
Solid. That's solid right there. So altogether, it was 24 episodes?
24. Yeah. So this is basically a season of television, right?
You put that in a list. You got a pretty good top 24 there, top 25 episodes.
So
I think so.
So obviously the majority of it is seasons 3, 4, and 5. Some 6 in there. We got season 8 with the English patient.
The Rye was season 7.
Rye season 7. Nothing from season 1.
Or 9.
I think from season 1 or 9, right? Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, just for most fans out there, 1's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I actually always preferred 9 over 8, even though I don't like either of them that much. I feel like 9. They came back a little bit, gave us a couple.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, season 9. I'm a sucker for the Merv Griffin show, just for the Kramer bit of it, but. I get it's not for everybody.
Yeah, we tend to say, I know a lot of people say different things about this, but just to piggyback off that, I mean, you really got after season 5, the Larry Charles and Tom Sharonis leave, and you could see a tone change for 6 and 7, and then Larry David leaves to see a third tone change for 8 and 9. So those are kind of the 3 buckets that we usually put things in. It's basically 1 through 5, then 6 and 7, and then 8 and 9 are kind of the 3 buckets. Just one way to look at it, I guess. And you could kind of see those tone changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fellas, again, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Really
welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Well, welcome back at any time. Anytime you guys want to come on, talk Seinfeld or the Jets or the Cowboys, you're more than welcome to. So hopefully we'll see each other again down the road. We'll try to get this up on Twitter somehow. Maybe we can get a voting of some sort.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
post all the different the full bracket or something. All
get
the
some
picks,
polls up for it.
Yeah, we'll get
who got the best
we'll
team.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll try to get that going. But thanks again to Chris, the Jets fan, and Tony, the Cowboys fan, for their contributions this week. Brandon, thank you to you as well.
Right.
And until next time, happy Seinfeld, everyone.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
It was fun. Appreciate it.